Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter everything you've been told about attraction. Most men spend their entire lives chasing, begging, and pleading for a woman's attention, only to end up empty-handed, frustrated, and wondering where they went wrong. But what if I told you there's a way to flip the script completely? What if you could become the kind of man she not only notices but actively pursues, without games, without gimmicks, without sacrificing your self-respect? This isn't about manipulation. This is about awakening a primal force inside you that most men never tap into, a force so magnetic, so undeniable, that it pulls her toward you effortlessly. I'm not talking about superficial tricks or pickup lines that fail the moment you open your mouth. I'm talking about mastering the unspoken laws of attraction that dictate who gets chased and who gets ignored. The truth? Women don't chase men who need them. They chase men who inspire them. Men who stand for something. Men who could walk away at any moment and be just fine. And here's the best part. This power isn't reserved for the rich, the famous, or the genetically gifted. It's available to you right now. But only if you're willing to see yourself differently. If you're tired of being the one always reaching out first, always double texting, always left wondering where you stand, then don't click away. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to shift the balance of power permanently. This isn't hype. This is psychology. This is biology. And once you see it, you'll never go back to the way things were before. So lean in, pay attention, and get ready to become the exception. Let's start with something uncomfortable but necessary. Most men fail with women not because they lack charm, looks, or even confidence, but because they misunderstand the fundamental nature of attraction. You've been conditioned to believe that if you just prove yourself enough, if you just show her how much you care, if you just sacrifice your time, energy, and dignity for her attention, then she'll finally see your worth and choose you. But here's the brutal truth. That doesn't work. It never has. In fact, the harder you try to earn her approval, the less she respects you. And deep down, you already know this. Attraction isn't transactional. It's not about exchanging niceness for affection or attention for loyalty. Women, and people in general, are drawn to those who carry an unshakable sense of self. Think about it. When you meet someone who doesn't need your validation, who isn't waiting for your permission to exist, who moves through the world with quiet assurance, don't you find yourself leaning in, wanting to know more? That's the power of true confidence. It's not loud, it's not performative, it's the calm certainty of a man who knows his own worth. Now let's break down why chasing validation backfires. When you prioritize her opinion over your own, when you rearrange your life to accommodate her whims, when you double text because she left you on read, what you're really communicating is, I need you more than you need me. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. It's not that women are cruel or manipulative. It's that neediness is biologically and psychologically repulsive. We're wired to seek strength, stability, and independence in our partners. If you telegraph insecurity, she can't respect you. Not because she's choosing not to, but because her instincts won't let her. So how do you fix this? First, you have to recognize that validation seeking is a symptom of a deeper issue. You don't truly value yourself. You've tied your self-worth to external approval. Her texts, her smiles, her attention. And that's a losing game, because the moment you outsource your confidence to someone else, you hand them the power to destroy it. Real confidence comes from within. It's built on competence, discipline, and self-respect. It's the product of a life well lived, not a reaction to how others treat you. Start by asking yourself, what would I be doing right now if no woman was watching? Still pushing yourself, still striving for excellence? Or would you collapse into laziness, self-pity, and distraction? The answer tells you everything. A man who chases validation is a man without a mission. And a man without a mission is invisible to women, to opportunity, to his own potential. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop trying to convince her of your value and start embodying it so completely that she'd be a fool to ignore it. That means walking away from games, from breadcrumbs, from half-hearted interest. It means setting boundaries, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of your standards. It means being so focused on your own growth that her approval becomes irrelevant. And paradoxically, that's when she'll start chasing you. Because women don't fall for men who beg, they fall for men who inspire. So let me leave you with this. The moment you stop needing her, you become the man she can't afford to lose. That's not a trick. That's the law of attraction. Now go act like it. Let's talk about what it really means to be the prize. Because most men get this completely backward. They think being the prize is about having money, status, or looks. And while those things can help, they're not the core of it. The real prize isn't something external. It's who you are at your deepest level. It's the kind of man who walks into a room and changes the energy just by being there. The kind of man who doesn't need to announce his value because it's obvious in the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, the way he moves through the world. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Most men are not the prize. They are the ones chasing, hoping, waiting. G, for a woman to validate them. They're the ones molding themselves into whatever they think she wants, sacrificing their own identity in the process, and that's exactly why they lose. Because no one chases something that's already chasing them. If you're constantly trying to prove yourself, you're signaling that you're not already worthy. And if you're not already worthy in your own eyes, why should she see you that way? So how do you shift this? How do you go from being the one who begs for attention to the one who commands it effortlessly? It starts with understanding a fundamental psychological principle. People want what they perceive as high value. And value isn't just about what you have, it's about what you represent. A man who is deeply engaged in his own mission, who has standards, who isn't afraid to walk away from what doesn't serve him, that's a man who naturally becomes the prize. Because he's not just another option, he's the standard. Let's break this down. First, you need a mission. Something that gives your life direction and meaning beyond just attracting women. Because if your entire sense of purpose revolves around whether or not a woman likes you, you've already lost. Women are drawn to men who are going somewhere, who have a fire inside them that's bigger than any relationship. That doesn't mean you have to be some billionaire CEO or famous artist. It means you need to be committed to something. Whether it's your career, your art, your fitness, your personal growth, you need to be moving towards something meaningful. Because that's what makes you interesting. That's what makes you someone worth chasing. Second, you need to develop an unshakable sense of self-worth. Not the fake, chest-thumping alpha male bravado, but the quiet confidence of a man who knows his own value. That means setting boundaries, not as a manipulation tactic, but because you respect yourself too much to tolerate disrespect, flakiness, or half-hearted effort. When you enforce those boundaries calmly and without anger, something interesting happens. Women either rise to meet your standards or they disqualify themselves. Either way, you win. Because you're not wasting time on people who don't see your worth. Third, and this is critical, you need to radiate the energy of a man who doesn't need her, but chooses her. There's a world of difference between those two things. Needing her comes from scarcity, from fear, from the belief that she's your only option. Choosing her comes from abundance, from the knowledge that you're with her because she adds something to your life, not because you're desperate to fill a void. That shift alone changes everything. Because when she feels that you're with her by choice, not by necessity, she'll start to wonder what makes him so sure of himself. And that's when the chase begins. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about pretending to be busy or acting aloof just to manipulate her emotions. This is about actually becoming the kind of man who doesn't have time for games. A man who is too focused on his own growth to get caught up in drama. A man who is so secure in himself that he doesn't need to play mind games to feel powerful. That's the real prize. And when you become that man, something incredible happens. Women don't just chase you, they compete for you because they recognize what you are. So here's the challenge for you. Stop asking, how do I get her to like me? And start asking, how do I become the kind of man she can't ignore? Build your life into something extraordinary. Cultivate a mindset of abundance. And most importantly, believe that you're the prize. Not because you're perfect, but because you're constantly striving to be better. Because when you truly see yourself as the prize, the world will have no choice but to agree. The most powerful force in human psychology isn't desire, it's the fear of loss. We're wired to value what might slip through our fingers far more than what's readily available. This isn't manipulation, it's basic human nature. When something feels certain and secure, we take it for granted. When it feels potentially fleeting, we fight to keep it. This principle governs everything from financial markets to romantic relationships, and understanding it will transform how women respond to you. Most men make the critical error of making their interest too obvious, too available, too undemanding. They think this generosity of attention will be rewarded with affection. In reality, it has the opposite effect. When you are always there, always responsive, always accommodating, you remove any sense of challenge or mystery. You become predictable, and predictability is the death of attraction. Women aren't attracted to what they already have. They're attracted to what they might not be able to get. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be uninterested. It's about having a life so full and compelling, just a little, she begins to value it more. When she sees other people respect you, she respects you more. When she notices you're not desperate for her validation, she starts wanting to validate you. But here's the crucial distinction. This isn't about pretending to be aloof while secretly checking your phone every 5 minutes for her messages. That's insecurity disguised as strategy. The authentic version of this is becoming so engaged with your own life that you're not emotionally dependent on any one person's attention. That's what creates real mystery. That's what makes her wonder what you're thinking. That's what makes her chase. The moment she senses you could walk away and be perfectly fine, that's the moment she realizes she might actually have something to lose. And that's when her competitive instincts kick in. Not because you've manipulated her, but because you've demonstrated through your actions that you're someone worth keeping. That's the difference between playing games and having genuine standards. One is a trick, the other is truth. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that would make someone fear losing you? Or are you making it too easy to take you for granted? The answer will determine whether she chases you or whether you'll always be the one chasing her. The ultimate power isn't in needing someone, it's in being someone who's needed. Most men think attraction is about looks, money, or confidence, and yes, those matter. But there's a deeper layer, a psychological hook that separates fleeting interest from undeniable obsession. Emotional depth. Women don't just fall for what you show, they fall for what you make. But you genuinely don't have time to obsess over her every text or social media post. It's about maintaining enough independence that your world doesn't revolve around her schedule. When she senses that you have options, not just with other women, but with how you spend your time and energy, something remarkable happens. She starts to wonder. She starts to question. She starts to invest. The competitive spirit emerges. When she realizes you're not orbiting her world, she has the opportunity to be part of yours. This is why men who are deeply committed to their purpose, their growth, and their mission naturally attract women without even trying. It's not about arrogance or indifference. It's about having standards and boundaries that communicate you're someone worth earning. When she has to work for your attention, even, them feel. And the man who can master this doesn't just get her attention. He rewires her nervous system to crave him. Here's the truth. Anyone can be charming for 5 minutes. But the men who leave a lasting imprint know how to create emotional resonance. Moments so intense, so intimate, that she replays them in her mind for days. This isn't about being nice or mysterious. It's about strategic vulnerability. The art of revealing just enough truth at the right moment to make her feel like she's discovering something real about you, and in turn about herself. How it works. The contrast principle. If you're always strong, she admires you. If you're strong but show controlled vulnerability, she becomes addicted to you. Think of the hero in a movie. He's fearless. But there's that one scene where his guard drops and sudden, yay, the audience leans in. That's the hook. Emotional spikes. Most interactions are flat, boring, predictable. But when you create sudden shifts, playful teasing followed by deep curiosity, confidence mixed with a flash of introspection, you trigger dopamine and intrigue. She doesn't just like you, she becomes fascinated by you. The unfinished story effect. Don't dump your whole life story in one night. Give her pieces, a childhood memory, an unfulfilled dream, a scar with a meaning, and let her mind fill in the gaps. The human brain craves resolution, and she'll chase you to get it. The mistake 99% of men make. They either hide behind a mask, stoic, unreadable, cool, which creates intrigue but no real connection, overshare too soon, trauma dumping, seeking pity, which kills attraction, the balance, reveal strength first, then depth. Let her earn your vulnerability by showing she can handle it. When she feels she's one of the few who truly sees you, that's when loyalty and obsession forms. The final truth, attraction isn't just about who you are. It's about who you make her become when she's with you. The right emotional triggers don't just make her want you. They make her need the version of herself that you evoke. So ask yourself, when she's with you, does she feel alive or just entertained? The answer decides whether she stays or strays.